Hey guys, today I wanted to do a video having kind of an honest discussion of what I think is one of the biggest points of confusion in SEO for business owners that are either thinking of doing SEO themselves or hiring somebody and they just want to understand it better, but there's been some question mark about it. And really where to begin on that is to say SEO as a profession involves a whole lot of little subgenres. Very few SEO people that I've ever met do literally all of the tools that could be in the toolbox, if you will. And so a lot of what you'll find is somebody specializing in like one thing and selling that and calling themselves an SEO person, and then it's confusing to other people. So like for instance, a ton of things SEO can mean, such as, content writing, writing blogs, optimizing pages, titles, optimizing images, content marketing, doing your schema tags and your schema data, backlink building, dealing with local directories and citations, handling, link and content sharing through social media, which I guess is a part of content marketing in a way. Like all kinds of things like that, and each of those have a whole bunch of bullet points of what doing that well really means. And quite often you'll see somebody who is like, say, amazing at building awesome directory listings, and they'll call themselves, they won't be forthright about it. They won't say, I am an expert SEO directory listing builder. And so if you have been doing marketing on your website and you feel like you need to really like leverage and build more local directory listings for your local rankings, call me. They don't say that. They'll just say, yeah, I'm an SEO guy. And so then mistakenly the business owner will think, oh, well, they do SEO. So if I hire them for this, this is all I need because this is SEO. And it's not to cast aspersions at that person. It's just that my honest experience has been no matter how good of a job you do at any one of those things, if that's the only thing you're doing, it's not going to be enough. It'll help you a little bit, but it may not help enough to create the ROI to justify what that person is charging. And then you end up with stories that I hear all the time of people saying, I've worked with a couple SEO guys and they made me all kinds of promises and I didn't ever get what I was hoping to from the campaign. And a lot of times that's the reason. When I push with these people that I'm talking to, like, well, what was the last person doing? A lot of times it is like they were just doing directories, or this person had it in their mind. Like the key to SEO is image optimization. So their entire proposal to me was, I'm going to go through your site and I'm going to restructure the titles of images and their alt text, and I'm going to do all this stuff to them, and it's going to be amazing. Now, look, doing that is great, and it's part of what I do as well. But to me, I'm like, you can't make an entire SEO campaign around image optimization. That's just what? It's going to give you some like measurable but relatively minor ranking boosts from that. And then if you're not doing anything else, like what is going to happen? And some people get some really crazy ideas about what that means. One site that I was looking at after somebody, they had titles that were like this long of like guy standing on a beach driving a Ford Mustang looking into the sunset on Thursday with his mom while he's eating ice cream. Like all of that is a title or is an alt tag. And I'm like, that's just way too long. It's probably going to seem spammy. I've not done specific A/B testing on that bit to know for a fact that it's bad. My inclination has just always been that spammy. Don't do it. You see a lot of that kind of stuff. And in reality, real SEO campaigns are trying to pick the best bang for your buck. I often phrase it this way. If you think of SEO as there being 100 potential tools that a person could use, the average SEO pro is going to say, I'm going to pick my favorite 25 of them that I think is the best bang for the buck, and I'm going to do those 25 really well. Most of the time, that's because there's just not enough time in a given month to do all 100, and the client is just not paying enough. It would be incredibly expensive to somehow cover literally every aspect that exists of SEO every single month. And a lot of those are like points of diminishing returns, where like doing certain things can give you small boosts, but past a certain point, investing more energy into it doesn't really help you a whole lot. And so there are things that you maybe only need to do once, and then you don't really need to touch a whole lot again. And there are other things that you've got to be doing consistently. And if you're not doing them consistently, you're just not going to move the needle. And so there is a fair bit of that. And I would say for anybody who would have said they've worked with an SEO guy before and maybe not gotten the results that they wanted, in the best of cases, with the most benefit of the doubt, probably that's the reason. This person might have been very good at what they do, but they were unfortunately only covering like one aspect of doing SEO. It would be kind of like if you had a marketing director that was supposed to handle the entirety of all marketing for your brand, but for some reason their entire strategy was just, I want branded apparel. We're going to make t-shirts. And then you were like, what else are we doing for marketing? And they were like, nothing. T-shirts are going to be the thing. Like, analogously, that's kind of the same deal. Like, you obviously know that you can't win in marketing just by doing t-shirts. And so some of these people with the SEO things, that's kind of where you're running into trouble. The other area that I've seen a lot of is when they say, I paid this person for this amount of time and I'm not getting anything. I log into the site and there are blank meta titles, blank meta descriptions. There are weak page titles. There are no subheadings that have any optimization in them at all. And so I can look at that and say, yeah, we all as SEOs have our own preferences and our own specific ways of doing stuff that don't always agree with each other. But when I see that you haven't even written meta titles, and I see that you haven't paid any attention whatsoever to subheadings, and you haven't done any image stuff, and the way that you just generally write content on the site is completely unfocused, I can look at it and say, you've not actually done anything. And then when I ask the person, what kind of SEO were they supposedly doing? And the answer is, well, I don't know, they said something about on-site. I look at that and I'm like, I call BS on that. There's just no way that you were doing on-site SEO with this many things open. And that's unfortunate when that happens, because this is an unscrupulous person who is counting on SEO is mysterious, and most business owners don't actually even know what it is, so they have no way of holding me accountable, the person says, because how are they going to check on me? How are they going to know I'm not doing anything? They don't even know what I'm supposed to be doing, and I'm not telling them. So I can just cash a check and like twiddle my fingers for 3 months until they get frustrated and then move on, and I've gotten 3 months of money to do nothing. There is some degree of that in this industry that hurts me that that's true. And I have come in and taken over quite a lot of sites where sadly that seems to have been the case. But I'm putting that out there in this video kind of bluntly because I'm sick of it. And I think business owners should understand a little bit more about what they're paying for so that they either can make an informed decision or at the very least know how to hold people they hire properly accountable for it. Now, as far as the collection of tools, I would say you need to be doing all of those things. Yeah, it is helpful to really nail in your directory listings and citations for your localized searches. It is also helpful to do backlink building. It is also helpful to blog, and it is helpful to do page optimization, and it is helpful to do image optimization, and so on. Schema is also very helpful for featured snippets and localized searches. You should be doing a whole bunch of all of those things. And if the SEO person you're hiring doesn't seem to have a plan that covers at least most of these types of things at a basic level, it's probably not going to be worth your while, because the campaign is just not going to create a big enough impact to justify the fee. And I would be leery of anybody who is quoting you an SEO campaign that seems way below what everyone else is charging. As a for instance, say you're taking bids from various agencies around town, and a lot of the quotes you're getting are like $800 a month, $1,200 a month, $2,000 a month. You know, it varies a little bit. But then you get somebody come in and is like, I can do SEO for you for $300 a month. I've seen a lot of business owners who are on tight budgets say, I'm going to go with that guy because $300 sounds great. And the problem is, this is me being real with you. My experience, my opinion from doing this a lot of years, I don't know how anybody could do meaningful SEO for $300 a month. You're either working for less than minimum wage, which if you're as good as you say you are, you wouldn't be doing, or you're just not doing nearly enough, and then it's just not going to move the needle. And as a business owner, I would rather spend $1,000 a month, even if it makes me a little uncomfortable, to have the chance that that really blows things up for me and makes a difference, than spend $300 a month that does nothing, and then I'm literally just throwing $300 a month out the window. So that's just being real with you. I hope that clears up some of these misconceptions. If you've been wondering about the same things, if you have questions about it or ideas for a future video, as always, let me know, or shoot me an email through the link on my channel, and I'll see you in the next video.